Hey guys, tonight we slip quietly through a narrow Istanbul side street where the stones still hold the day's warmth and a thin ribbon of lamplight spills from a wooden doorway ahead. You duck inside and the world softens at once. Low cushions line the walls, brass trays glow like sleepy moons, and the air smells faintly of roasted coffee and wool cloaks drying by the hearth. Someone shifts, fabric rustles, a spoon taps porcelain, and the whole place hums like a very relaxed beehive. You probably won't survive this level of coziness without at least one accidental nap, so consider yourself warned. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're settling in, tell me your location and local time in the comments, because nothing says global relaxation like knowing someone else is also horizontal right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stay near the doorway at first, letting your eyes adjust. The coffee house, kafehane as people here call it, has been part of Ottoman city life since the 16th century, when coffee first spread through the empire, and Istanbul filled with places just like this. That's the mainstream fact of the evening. These were social hubs, not just caffeine stations, where men gathered to talk, listen, and, very importantly for your purposes, sit absolutely still for impressive lengths of time. You shuffle forward and lower yourself onto a cushion that sighs dramatically, as if it too has had a long day. Around you, men in turbans and loose robes lean against bolsters, shoes neatly left by the wall. No one rushes, no one scrolls, no one says, "Sorry, just one more email." Honestly, it's unsettling. A small oil lamp flickers on a niche in the wall, lighting painted tiles in deep blues and reds. Historians still argue whether the earliest coffeehouses were seen more as intellectual salons or simply pleasant places to pass time. But from your vantage point, the current activity appears to be competitive lounging. One man has achieved a posture suggesting he may never stand again. Respect. From somewhere deeper in the room comes the soft clink of tiny cups being stacked. Coffee here is prepared thick and unfiltered, simmered in a small pot, grounds and all. You don't have yours yet, but you can already smell it. Dark, earthy, a little smoky. A fringe tidbit drifts through your mind. Some early critics claimed coffeehouses made people too thoughtful and therefore mildly suspicious. Imagine being so relaxed that authorities worry you might start discussing poetry. You lean back, copying the posture of the locals, hands folded, gaze unfocused. The floorboards creak as another late arrival enters, nods, and wordlessly melts into a cushion. No grand greetings, just presence. The fire in the hearth gives a soft pop, and a few heads turn, not in alarm, but appreciation, like the fireplace just told a decent joke. You begin to understand. This isn't a place you conquer with energy. It's a place that gently defeats you with comfort. A small cup finally appears in front of you, as if summoned by your increasing horizontalness. The server, moving with the calm focus of someone who has carried exactly 1,000 tiny cups in his lifetime, sets it down on a brass saucer. The coffee is dark, glossy, and suspiciously still, like a pond that absolutely contains secrets. You peer into it. It does not peer back, but you feel judged anyway. You lift it carefully. No handle, of course, because this is the Ottoman Empire, and your fingers are now part of the heating system. The first sip is thick, bitter, and surprisingly velvety, with fine grounds settling at the bottom like sleepy sediment. This style of brewing, slowly simmered in a small pot, travels into Istanbul from earlier coffee traditions in the Arab world, and by the 1500s, the city is dotted with coffee houses where this exact flavor fuels hours of conversation, poetry, and elite-level sitting. Across from you, a regular with a silver-threaded beard watches your expression with quiet amusement. First-timers apparently all make the same face, somewhere between intrigued philosopher and I licked a tree. He gives a tiny nod of approval anyway. You passed. Someone nearby explains, for your benefit, and possibly his own dramatic flair, that coffee first arrives in the Ottoman realm through trade routes linking Yemen and the Red Sea to the wider empire. From there, it spreads fast, partly because it keeps people alert for evening prayers and long talks, and partly because, let's be honest, it tastes like productivity in liquid form. Here's a quirky tidbit drifting through the room. In some periods, fortune-telling from coffee grounds becomes popular. People flip the cup onto the saucer, let the grounds slide, and then study the patterns. You glance at your own cup and decide your future clearly involves more sitting, a bold destiny. Historians still argue whether the earliest Ottoman coffeehouses were immediately welcomed, or whether religious and political authorities were wary from the start. Some sultans and officials reportedly worried that gatherings over coffee encouraged too much discussion, which is historically the gateway activity to opinions. And opinions, as we all know, are more powerful than swords, especially when paired with snacks. You take another sip, slower now. The warmth spreads through your chest, but the room remains unhurried. Coffee here doesn't produce frantic energy. It creates a wide, alert calm. People speak in low tones, pausing often, letting thoughts stretch out like cats in sunlight. A man to your left cradles his cup and stares at the middle distance with the focus of someone solving a philosophical riddle. Or maybe he's just thinking about bread. In this place, the two states look identical. You settle deeper into your cushion, cup balanced between both hands, and realize the drink isn't the main event. It's the permission. Permission to sit, to listen, to drift just slightly, awake but unarmored. You slide your feet out of your shoes, copying the quiet choreography you've been watching all evening. Socks meet cool floorboards, and the whole experience upgrades instantly from pleasant historical visit to professional-level nest. Around you, men shift, tuck one leg under the other, lean back against cushions faded by years of elbows and epiphanies. The room exhales as one organism. At the far end, a man with a neatly wrapped turban clears his throat, not loudly, just enough to ripple attention across the cushions. This is the storyteller, the Meddah, a familiar figure in Ottoman coffeehouses. That's your mainstream fact for this section. Traveling storytellers perform in places like this, reciting epics, folk tales, and humorous sketches, often switching voices and gestures to play multiple characters. Basically, one-man theater, zero special effects budget, maximum imagination. He holds a simple staff and a handkerchief, classic props. With a tilt of his head and a shift in tone, he becomes a brave hero. With a squint and a nasal whine, a grumpy shopkeeper. The room leans in, and you follow, though your posture suggests you may also be auditioning for the role of decorative cushion accessory. A fringe tidbit drifts through your drowsy mind. Some storytellers were known to subtly slip in local gossip or gentle satire about daily life, disguising commentary as comedy. It's the historical version of, I'm not saying names, but you know who you are. The audience reacts with soft chuckles, the kind that don't disturb the nap ecosystem. You notice how people listen here, not rigidly. They sprawl, eyes half closed, hands folded over stomachs. One man appears fully asleep, mouth slightly open, yet at a punchline he snorts awake, laughs, and immediately returns to stillness. It's an advanced skill. Nap between jokes, never miss the good part. Historians still argue whether these performances shaped public opinion in meaningful ways or were mostly light entertainment. But sitting here, you feel how stories gently braid a community together. Even half asleep, everyone shares the same imaginary road, the same heroic horse, the same overly dramatic villain who probably needs a snack. The storyteller's voice rises and falls in a soothing rhythm, almost musical. Outside, faint night sounds slip through wooden screens, distant footsteps, a cartwheel, a dog who has opinions about the moon. Inside, the coffeehouse air is warm, layered with coffee, wool, and the faint sweetness of someone's perfume. You hug a cushion to your side, eyes drifting closed for a moment. The hero in the story is crossing a desert. You are crossing the vast landscape between awake and asleep. Honestly, his journey seems harder. A soft laugh ripples again through the room and you resurface just in time. Perfect timing. You're basically a professional. The air grows thicker in the gentlest possible way, layered now with the faint curl of pipe smoke rising in lazy spirals toward the dark ceiling beams. You don't cough, you just watch it drift, as if the room itself is thinking slow thoughts. Somewhere to your right, someone adjusts a small brazier, and the coals glow a deeper orange, like they're blushing at all this collective relaxation. You notice the soundscape more than anything. Not loud, not silent, just a tapestry of tiny noises. Cups touch saucers with soft ceramic clicks. Fabric whispers as someone shifts position. A low murmur of conversation hums beneath the storyteller's voice, never competing, only cushioning it. It's the acoustic equivalent of a weighted blanket. That's your mainstream fact sliding in quietly. Ottoman coffeehouses weren't only for stories, they were places for conversation, poetry recitations, and board games, especially backgammon. Right on cue you hear it, the distinct rhythmic clack of pieces on wood from a corner table. Two men lean over a board, brows gently furrowed, moving pieces with the seriousness of generals, but at a speed suggesting they also might nap mid-strategy. A quirky tidbit floats by in your mind. Some coffeehouses were known for specific themes. Certain ones attracted poets, others tradesmen, others musicians. It's like choosing a cafe based on whether the vibe is existential verse or carpentry gossip. You glance around, trying to categorize this one. The current theme appears to be advanced horizontal listening with notes of mild philosophy. A man passes carrying a long-stemmed pipe, and you catch a whiff of scented tobacco, faintly sweet. Another dabs his beard with a drop of rose water from a tiny bottle. The sensory layers stack up: coffee, smoke, perfume, wool, warm wood. If relaxation had a recipe, this would be it, simmered gently over coals. Historians still argue whether authorities tolerated these spaces consistently or viewed them with suspicion because people gathered here to talk freely. And you can see why. When humans sit comfortably for long enough, they start discussing big ideas, like poetry, ethics, or whether the guy in the corner has secretly merged with his cushion at a molecular level. The storyteller pauses for a sip of water. In the gap, the room doesn't rush to fill the silence. Silence is allowed here, honored even. You let your head rest back against the wall, feeling the cool plaster through fabric. Your eyes close just briefly while the backgammon clicks continue, steady, hypnotic, like a metronome for your breathing. You're not fully asleep, not fully awake, just steeping, like the coffee, in the gentle warmth of shared stillness.
Time loosens its grip in the most polite way possible. No one announces that it's late. The room simply leans further into itself. The storyteller's voice has softened, his once heroic warrior now describing a long road, a quiet horse, a sky full of patient stars. You suspect the plot could pause for a week and no one would complain. This is where you notice the true art form on display, doing nothing, expertly. Men sit with hands folded, eyes half closed, breathing slow and even. In the Ottoman world, coffee houses become known as places of sohbet, easy, flowing conversation, and also of stillness between words. That's your mainstream fact settling gently beside you. These spaces help shape an urban social culture built on talking, listening, and simply being present for hours. A cat appears because, of course, there is a cat. It threads through ankles and cushions like a striped spirit of comfort, pausing to inspect a fallen crumb. No one shoos it away. It belongs here as much as the coffee pots and cushions. A fringe tidbit drifts by. Some travelers to Ottoman cities write about coffee houses as places where time seems to stretch, where a person can sit for hours over a single cup. You look at your mostly empty cup and feel personally validated. Near the door, two men murmur in low voices, discussing a poem or politics or possibly bread again. Historians still argue whether coffee houses meaningfully influenced public opinion or if they were mostly social refuges, but from your cushion-level perspective, they are clearly research centers for advanced relaxation techniques. The fire has burned down to embers, casting a softer, redder glow. Shadows lengthen along the walls, and the painted tiles look deeper, like colors seen through closed eyelids. The backgammon game has ended. The board now rests idle, pieces stacked, as if even they are ready for bed. You feel heavy in the best way, like a blanket has been gently laid across your thoughts. The storyteller's words blur into rhythm more than meaning, a tide of syllables rising and falling. Outside, the night air slips through the wooden screens, cooler now, carrying distant city sounds that feel miles away. Your breathing matches the room's slow cadence. No one hurries you. No one expects anything. You are just another quiet shape among cushions, another listener drifting between story and dream. And as the voice at the front of the room fades to a near whisper, the coffee house seems to float, untethered from clocks, from schedules, from the sharp edges of day. Now everything softens further. The lamplight is low and golden, barely more than a glow, and the air feels warm against your face, cool at your fingertips, a gentle balance that asks nothing of you. The last sounds are small ones, fabric settling, a faint sigh, the quiet shift of someone leaning more comfortably into a cushion. The world beyond these walls has receded completely, like a tide slipping back from shore. Your thoughts move slower, wider apart, like lanterns spaced along a dark path. You don't need to follow them. You can let them pass, one by one, while the memory of low voices and distant backgammon clicks drifts around you like soft echoes. You are safe here, in the hush, in the shared stillness, in the warmth of a room where nothing urgent exists. The stories have blurred into a gentle murmur, and even that is fading now, dissolving into the quiet rhythm of breath and night air. Rest here a moment longer, held by the soft glow, the cushions, the calm. Let the last images dim, like embers settling into ash, like stars behind thin clouds, until there is only the slow, easy dark.